guys, it's your King Knight Vincent Valentine EX Turk Mars was a Chaos, and I'm a little bit tired, so I'm not going to get too much into this as in depth as I usually do with other Final Fantasy, theory videos. But, so let's just get right into it without the introduction, without the thrills. Let's just get started. Let's talk about Noctis, Lucius Caelium's power gauge from his present self to his future self, as you see from the 10 years. Brought to you by also Gatorade, good thirst quencher, and heavily sponsored by the fitness companies out there. But let's get started. Noctis's power gauge, at the beginning of the game, he was starting out pretty weak because Noctis's power gauge is based on the Arbinger weapons he gets through the whole game. So depending on how much of the previous king's weapons he gets is how strong he is. I mean, this is for Final Fantasy XV's power mechanic, at least for the character of Noctis. And possibly Arden. I'm pretty sure every Lucius Caelium goes through the same thing. Just like younger Regis would be weaker if he didn't get all the power of the kings like he did in the King's Tale. And this is continuity, not just gameplay. Now, I'd say in the beginning of the game, Noctis would have started out pretty weak. But then once he got to, I'm trying to think of what he would probably get to. I think after he fought Aranea Highwind and beat her, he got a little stronger, a little bit more stronger because all the weapons he gets beforehand, due to all the dungeons he has to go through to get them, or the places, or the royal tomb. So he gets stronger for each weapon, and not to mention, even a little bit later on, Noctis gets even stronger because Noctis defeats defeats Titan, Leviathan. And then later, he defeats Idolus in the form of Feralis, which was a high-ranking demon general. So Noctis, at this point, would be super strong already, even without the power of the King of Light's magic ring, And then, after defeating Idolus in the same Magitech factory, he defeats Ravus Nox Foray, his eternal rival. Even though Ravus Nox Foray is not his normal form, still, he's a little strong. Ravus is a little stronger in his demon form. So if Noctis beats him in that form, I think at this point Noctis has made it at least a little bit close level to Arden. Not so much, but a little bit close level to Arden, because Ravus was originally stronger than Noctis, and Noctis got this power boost by defeating all the enemies he have, and also gaining all these Royal Tomb weapons, because each Lucius Caelium king gets stronger for each weapon they have. Pretty much act like you had 20 levels. If this was the realistic mechanic, it'd be 20 levels for each weapon. So, and then also the kills that Noctis has. Noctis killed Idolus in the form of Feralis, which was the Emperor of the Niflheim, if you remember. Killed the High Commander Ravus when Ravus was transformed. And Ravus transformed to Ontaria is actually stronger than the original Ravus because of an enhancement through the demon experiment that Arden put on him. So, now let's talk. So, he'd be at least close to Arden's level. Now let's talk about future Noctis. Future Noctis, this power gauge, would be 10 times stronger. Because in this, he would go through the world of Versus in order to take the tests, in order to take the exact tests, in order to become a King of Light. And he completes it and passes. So he gets the ring's magic and pretty much can use all the Arbingers all at once, as well as his power up and his level go, maybe not in the game level, but his level in the story gets at least 10 times. Now there's a gap that's kind of close between Noctis and Arden. So Noctis is actually really strong. Yeah, he may not be no Cloud, Sephiroth, or anything like that, but Noctis wouldn't need history like that because with the Arbinger and now he has the King's Magic, pretty much he would be I think at this point he'd be stronger than Regis was when Regis was at his prime, and Regis was really strong. So Noctis at this point would have the gap closed between him and Arden. That's how come that boss. I mean, think about it. That's how. Why do you think that boss fight was so easy at the end? I mean, sure, at first part was a little bit hard because you didn't use the King's magic. You just fought him regular. But then when you unlock the full power of the King's Ring, Arden was easier to beat. You know, even Arden was impressed about the fact that he closed the gap between him and Arden. So future Noctis is 10 times stronger. No, not 10 times, 50 times stronger than the original Noctis from the present timeline. It makes sense. He surpassed his father, King Regis. He defeated the High Commander of the Niflheim Empire, the Niflheim Emperor himself. And if he would have stayed alive, somehow he would have stayed alive and was still able to banish Arden for good while staying alive, I'd say Noctis would be kind of the strongest character in Final Fantasy. Kind of. Remember, I still have a debate with Cloud versus Noctis for anyone who would want to go on that Google Hangout and debate all they want. But until that debate comes in, Noctis would possibly be the strongest character in Final Fantasy because, you know, I mean, sure, Cloud did the same thing. Cloud defeated Shinra, Cloud defeated Sephiroth, and if you count the compilation, I don't care what you say, Cloud would have been able to beat Rose of the Crimson. Now, we're not talking about Cloud, but I'm bringing this up as an example. Is Final Fantasy's kill system is kind of like how it is with shonen animes. They get stronger for each opponent they face. And Ravens was a high commander of the Niflheim Empire, 10 times stronger than he was in the past. And you got the Emperor, who's possibly stronger, or at least just as strong as Ravens. 10 years completing the King's magic. They're going through the world of verses and getting stronger, because I believe if you go in the world of verses as a test, it's more than just a stasis sleep. What it is, your mind and your soul goes transport to another world and time. So when your soul comes back, it gains experience for your body. So at this point, I'd have to say, for sure in Final Fantasy 15, but not in the whole Final Fantasy continuity, but in Final Fantasy 15's continuity, I would have to say Noctis Lucius Kylem's the strongest character. Especially the fact he defeated Arden, an immortal demon king that created the Star Scourge, and banished him. Sure, took his own life, but I'd have to dub Noctis Lucius Kylem the strongest character in Final Fantasy 15.